The gentleman, the chair recognizes the gentleman from South Carolina, Mr. Mulvaney, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Meadows. Ms. Cohen, Dr. Cohen, I've just got a couple follow-up questions, nothing major, but following up on what Mr. DeSantis was talking about, which is this memo that CMS sent out. Well, actually, it was a public memo. It wasn't sent to anybody regarding the risk corridors. You mentioned a couple times, and I think you're right, that the DOJ is your lawyer in these disputes and you are the client. Makes sense. You're not a lawyer, you're a doctor, I get that. Why would you send this out? Why wouldn't your lawyer tell you not to talk to the people that might be suing you? It's general advice. Whenever lawyers advise their clients, don't talk to the people who are going to sue you. Let me do that. Mm-hmm. So why did you send this out?
So I think the rest of the document describes what was happening in this year's program, as well as reiterating our commitment to the program. And I think what it's saying there is that whenever there's litigation risk, as it says right there, that you can always go talk to our lawyers.
Right, but that's not what it says. In fact, you don't have to say what it says. We can read what it says. We know that a number of issuers have sued in federal court seeking to obtain the risk corridor amounts that have not been paid to date. As in any lawsuit, the Department of Justice is vigorously defending those claims on behalf of the United States. However, as in all cases where there is litigation risk, we are open to discussing resolution of these claims. We are willing to begin such discussions at any time. It doesn't say, call the DOJ. It doesn't say, don't call us. Has anybody called you on this, by the way?
So I think folks know that the Department of Justice represents us in this, and so I'm sure
yes, they do. Yeah. Yes, they do. So why send it?
Again, it is normal course of business here.
And you're telling me, it was ordinary course of business?
Yep. So as litigation is moved,
have y'all ever sent out a
here.
notice before saying, we're getting sued and we know y'all can sue us, do us a favor, call us now and we can talk settlement without DOJ here. Have you ever done that before?
So what I think the paper is saying is that what we've said last year, which is we have an obligation here, and we have always said that. And
did you send out a similar memo last year?
We sent out a similar memo, yes, with our obligation here, but what has transpired.
Did it have an invitation at the end to please have people call you to begin discussions on settlement resolution?
So at that point, a year ago, we had no litigation. And so what we're acknowledging this year is that time has evolved and folks are now suing us in federal court, as it says.
All right, then skip ahead to my other question, which is, has anybody contacted you as a result of this memo going out?
Again, I imagine that conversations are happening with DOJ, but I'm not.
I imagine a lot of things, Ms. Cohen, but that's not really my question. Has anybody contacted you
has not contacted
about this
me
yet? They might have contacted DOJ, and you wouldn't know that.
Correct. DOJ handles
and
these
DOJ
matters
hasn't told you anybody's called you about this yet?
DOJ handles these matters on our
When is the deadline, just so everybody who might be able to sue HHS over the risk corridor payments, when is the deadline for them to contact DOJ so they can file their lawsuits or begin negotiation discussions?
I couldn't answer. I don't know if there's I would have to ask lawyers. I don't believe there's a
Not the
deadline.
end of September or something like that?
No.
Is it the end of this term is it the end of this administration?
As we've said, this is a 3-year program. We've said that all along. We've said that there is an obligation here. I think this is, again, nothing new that we hadn't said last year.
I want to go back because Mr. DeSantis talked on this, and this would be more for the lawyers in the audience than the doctors, but he mentioned briefly whether or not the judgment fund could be used to pay this, because I think that's HHS's position right now, is that there is no money in the appropriations. We got rid of that. I think that was Senator Rubio's amendment in the last appropriations bill. So there's no money left in appropriation for risk corridor payments. It apparently is the opinion of HHS or DOJ or both that the judgment fund might be available to make those payments. But I want to read what I thought that Mr. DeSantis was going to read. He ran out of time. And this is a quote from the Department of Justice. Quote, "The judgment fund does not become available simply because an agency may have insufficient funds at a particular time to pay a judgment. If the agency lacks sufficient funds to pay a judgment but possesses statutory authority to make the payment, its recourse is to seek funds from Congress. Thus, if another appropriation or fund is legally available to pay a judgment or settlement, payment is otherwise provided for, and the judgment fund is not available. This is the Clinton administration's decision in 1998. So, for the folks who are watching this today, who got their little memo, who are thinking about calling you folks, I think they should know that it is the opinion of at least some lawyers, some of whom were Republicans in Congress, others of whom were Democrats in the administration of Bill Clinton, that the judgment fund is not available for these payments. And in order for these payments to be made, folks are going to have to make the argument to both parties in Congress that Congress should appropriate that money, and that it is not proper for this administration to be paying those any awards out of the judgment fund. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.